Parliament of India, the supreme representative institution of the country. It embodies the sovereignty, the hopes, aspirations and expectations of the people. Democracy has all along been an integral part of India's cultural heritage for the last 5,000 years. In pre-medieval and medieval periods, monarchy prevailed in large parts of India. However, village communities in their local affairs continued to be governed by village councils or panchayats. Elective local bodies at the village level like Gram Sabhas, Gram Sanghas or panchayats survived and continued to function. In modern times, the growth of parliamentary institutions can be traced to our struggle against the foreign rule. The First War of Independence in 1857 shook the foundation of the century-old British rule and compelled the British to establish a closer contact with public opinion in India. The Indian Councils Act 1861 set in motion a scheme of legislative devolution. This was followed by the Indian Councils Act of 1892, which for the first time provided for filling up of some seats in the Legislative Council through elections. The Government of India Act 1919 gave effect to the Montagu-Chalfont reforms and established a bicameral legislature at the centre for the first time. Thereafter, with the enactment of the Government of India Act of 1935, the framework of the central government in India remained what it was under the Act of 1919, with such modifications as necessitated by the introduction of autonomy in the provinces. The first Central Legislative Assembly, constituted under the 1919 Act, came into being at the centre in 1921 and continued to function for over a quarter century from 1921 to 1947. The Indian Independence Act 1947, passed by the British Parliament, declared the Constituent Assembly of India to be a fully sovereign body. On the midnight of 14th and 15th August 1947, the Constituent Assembly assumed full powers for the governance of the country. With the coming into force of the Constitution on 26 January 1950, a full-fledged parliamentary system of government was established. The Constituent Assembly became the Provisional Parliament of India. The first general elections based on adult franchise were held in 1952 and Parliament was constituted under the provisions of the new Constitution. Under the Constitution of India, the three organs of the state are the legislature, the executive and the judiciary. Each organ functions independently within its own sphere, free from interference from the other two. The Constitution of India provides for a bicameral parliament consisting of the President and the two houses, the Council of States, Rajya Sabha, and the House of the People, Lok Sabha.
Parliament, President, Council of States, Rajya Sabha, House of the People, Lok Sabha.
The President is the constitutional head of the state and acts on the aid and advice of the Council of Ministers, which is responsible to the Lok Sabha. There are certain constitutional functions which the President has to perform in relation to Parliament. The present President, Srimati Pratibha Devi Singh Patil, is the first Lady President elected in the 60th year of independence.
The President is elected by an electoral college consisting of the elected members of both the Houses of Parliament and the elected members of the legislative assemblies of the states.
The Rajya Sabha is an indirectly elected house consisting of not more than 250 members. Out of these, 238 members represent the states and the union territories and 12 are members nominated by the President from eminent persons in the fields of literature, science, art and social service, by the elected members of the legislative assemblies of the states in accordance with the system of proportional representation by means of single transferable vote. The Rajya Sabha was constituted for the first time on 3rd April 1952. It is a permanent body and is not subject to dissolution. 1/3 of the members retire after every 2 years and are replaced by the newly elected members. The term of an individual member of Rajya Sabha is 6 years. The basic qualifications, among other things, required for a person to become a member of Rajya Sabha are:
he should be a citizen of India, he should not be less than 30 years of age, he should be enrolled as an elector in a parliamentary constituency in India.
Members of the Lok Sabha are directly elected by the people. Every citizen who is 18 years of age is entitled to vote in the elections. The maximum strength of the House has been fixed at 552. Out of these, not more than 530 members are directly elected from the territorial constituencies of the states. 20 members are elected from the Union territories and 2 members are nominated by the President from the Anglo-Indian community. The basic qualifications, among other things, required for a person to become a member of Lok Sabha are:
he should be citizen of India, he should not be less than 25 years of age, he should be enrolled as an elector in a parliamentary constituency in India.
Lok Sabha has a fixed term of 5 years, but it can be dissolved before the expiration of its full term. When a proclamation of emergency is in operation, the term of the Lok Sabha may be extended by the Parliament by law for a period not exceeding 1 year at a time and not extending in any case beyond a period of 6 months after the proclamation has ceased to operate. So far, 15 Lok Sabhas have been constituted. Every elected or nominated member of the House has to make and subscribe to the oath or affirmation in accordance with the Constitution. Both the Houses of Parliament have equal powers on ordinary bills and Constitution amendment bills, but the Lok Sabha has supremacy in financial matters. It is also the House to which the Council of Ministers is collectively responsible.
Lok Sabha special powers, supremacy in financial matters, no confidence motion.
The Rajya Sabha has a special role in enabling the Parliament to legislate on a state subject if it is necessary in the national interest. It has a similar power in regard to creation of an All India service.
Special powers of Rajya Sabha to empower the Parliament to make laws on any matter in the state list, creation of All India services, approval of proclamations issued under Articles 352, 356 and 360 if the Lok Sabha stands dissolved.
If a proclamation is issued by the President in the event of national emergency or failure of constitutional machinery in a state or financial emergency at a time when Lok Sabha has been dissolved or the dissolution of Lok Sabha takes place within the specified period for its approval, then the proclamation can remain effective if a resolution approving it is passed by the Rajya Sabha. In case of disagreement between the two houses on a bill, there is provision for a joint sitting of the two houses to resolve the deadlock, where questions are decided by the majority vote. However, this provision of joint sitting does not apply to money bills and constitution amendment bills. So far, there have been 3 joint sittings.
Provision of joint sitting does not apply to money bills and constitution amendment bills. The Speaker, during the absence of the Speaker, the Deputy Speaker of the House, or if he is also absent, the Deputy Chairman of the Council, or if he is also absent, such other person as may be determined by the members present at the sitting, presides over the joint sitting. Occasions of joint sitting of the two houses. In 1961, on the Dowry Prohibition Bill 1959. In 1978, on the Banking Service Commission Repeal Bill 1977. In 2002, on the Prevention of Terrorism Bill 2002.
The Vice President of India is the ex officio chairman of the Rajya Sabha. He is elected by the members of an electoral college consisting of members of both houses of parliament in accordance with the system of proportional representation by means of a single transferable vote. Many distinguished persons have adorned the office of the chairman. The present chairman is Mohammad Hamid Ansari. In the Lok Sabha, the Speaker is elected from amongst its members. The office of the Speaker is one of great prestige and authority. The Speaker enjoys vast powers, both under the constitutional provisions and the rules, as well as inherently. The Speaker is the custodian of the rights and privileges of the House, its committees and members. Within the precincts of the House, the Speaker's authority is supreme. The Speaker enjoys a special position insofar as the relations between the two houses of Parliament in certain matters are concerned. The Speaker certifies money bills and decides finally what are the money matters by reason of the overriding powers of the Lok Sabha in financial matters. It is the Speaker of the Lok Sabha who presides over the joint sittings called in the event of a disagreement between the two houses on a legislative measure. Indian Parliament, down its history, has had a galaxy of eminent speakers who have lent dignity and prestige to the chair. The present Speaker is Srimati Meera Kumar, who has the distinction of being the first lady Speaker.
Question number 305, Shri R.K. Singh Patel.
Madam, 305.
The Chairman Rajya Sabha and the Speaker Lok Sabha are assisted by a number of parliamentary functionaries. The Deputy Chairman of the Rajya Sabha is elected by the members of the Rajya Sabha from amongst themselves and presides over the House in the absence of the Chairman. The present Deputy Chairman is Shri K. Rahman Khan. In Lok Sabha, the Deputy Speaker is elected by the Lok Sabha from amongst its members. The Deputy Speaker has the same powers as the Speaker while presiding over a sitting of the House. Unlike the Speaker, the Deputy Speaker can speak in the House, take part in its deliberations and vote as a member on any question before the House, but he can do this only when the Speaker is presiding. The present Deputy Speaker is Shri Kadiya Munda. There is a panel of 10 chairmen nominated by the Speaker Lok Sabha, and one of them presides over the House in the absence of the Speaker and the Deputy Speaker. In the Rajya Sabha, there is a panel of 6 vice chairmen. The leader of the House is one of the most important parliamentary functionaries who exercises direct influence on the course and conduct of the business of the House. Currently, Shri Pranab Mukherjee, Minister of Finance, is the leader of the House in Lok Sabha. The Prime Minister, Dr. Manmohan Singh, is the leader of the House in Rajya Sabha. The functioning of parliamentary government is based on mutual tolerance between the opposition and the government. The leader of the opposition has a significant role to play in a democratic polity. At present, Srimati Sushma Swaraj is the leader of opposition in Lok Sabha and Shri Arun Jaitley in Rajya Sabha. Normally, Parliament holds 3 sessions in a year: budget session, monsoon session and winter session.
Sessions: Budget session, February to May. Monsoon session, July to August. Winter session, November to December.
At the commencement of the first session after each general election to the Lok Sabha, and also at the commencement of the first session of each year, which happens to be the budget session, the President addresses both the Houses of Parliament assembled together. The address contains a review of the activities and achievements of the government during the previous year and sets out the policies which it wishes to pursue with regard to important national and international issues. The address by the President is discussed by each House of the Parliament on a motion of thanks moved by a member and seconded by another member. Sittings of the House ordinarily commence at 1100 hours and the normal hours of sitting are from 1100 to 1300 hours and from 1400 to 1800 hours. There are, however, occasions when the House decides to sit late, depending on the volume and importance of the business before the House. Parliamentary business can be divided into 2 broad headings, namely government business and private members' business. Government business may be further divided into 2 categories: financial business and legislative business.
Financial business: presentation of railway and general budgets, discussion on them, vote on demands for grants, discussion and voting on the supplementary and excess demands for grants and votes of credit, discussions and passing of the appropriation bills, finance bills, etc. Legislative business: introduction, discussion and passing of bills.
Daily business of the House is arranged according to priorities fixed in the prescribed rules and directions. The business of each House is conducted according to their respective rules of procedure and conduct of business. The first hour of every sitting is normally devoted to questions. Question hour is an important component of the proceedings of the House. Questions are of 3 types:
Starred question, unstarred question, short notice question.
A starred question is one to which a member desires an oral answer in the House. In the case of an unstarred question, written answer is laid on the table of the House by the minister concerned. A short notice question is one which relates to a matter of urgent public importance. It is answered orally, followed by supplementary questions. Thousands of notices of questions are received from members during each session. There is no restriction on the number of notices a member can give under the rules, but not more than 5 admitted questions, both starred and unstarred combined, by one member are placed on the list of questions for any one day. Out of these, not more than 1 question is placed on the list of questions for oral answers. Besides, not more than 20 starred questions for oral answer and 230 unstarred questions are put on the list of questions for a sitting in Lok Sabha. In Rajya Sabha, 20 questions are put in the list of starred questions and 155 in the list of unstarred questions. When a member feels that the answer given to a question is not complete or does not give the desired information or needs further elucidation on a matter of fact, he can raise the matter under the device of half an hour discussion by giving a notice. The period of time immediately after the question hour and before the regular business is referred to as a 0 hour. Though not recognized in the rules of procedure, 0 hour has come to be regarded as a significant innovation, enabling the members to raise matters of extreme urgent national or international importance. The 0 hour has been streamlined recently and is conducted in 2 phases. In the first phase, about 5 matters of urgent public importance are taken up after the question hour, and in the second phase, the remaining matters for the day are taken up after all the listed business of the House is over. In the Rajya Sabha, there is no provision of 0 hour in the rules of procedure. However, a member who wishes to mention a matter of urgent public importance can do so by giving a notice in writing to the chairman. Calling attention is another Indian procedural innovation. A member may, with the prior permission of the Speaker, call the attention of the government through the minister concerned to point out any shortcoming in the actions of the government on an important matter. The minister may make a brief statement or ask for time to make a statement at a later hour. No debate is permitted on the statement made by the minister, but members can seek clarification. The process does not involve any censure of the government, as there is no discussion or voting.
The main features of a calling attention are: it is an Indian procedural innovation. Urgency and public importance are the main tests of admissibility.
Adjournment motion is an extraordinary procedure. The primary object of an adjournment motion is to set aside the normal business and take up for discussion an urgent matter of public importance. The subject matter of an adjournment motion must relate to the conduct of the government and must be in the nature of criticism of governmental action, either of omission or commission.
Adjournment motions are not allowed: 1. When a motion of no confidence in the Council of Ministers is under discussion. 2. During discussion on motion of thanks on the address by the President. 3. During discussion on the budget.
Another device for the ventilation of public grievances is matters under Rule 377 in the Lok Sabha or special mentions in the Rajya Sabha. This is an innovation in the Indian parliamentary procedure. The number of matters permissible to be raised under this rule has been increased over the period of time. At present, 20 matters are permitted to be raised in a day. Special references on certain occasions are also made in the House without any entry in the list of business. The most important procedural device in the hands of members of the Lok Sabha is to move a motion of no confidence against the Council of Ministers. This is subject to the restriction that leave of the House to move the motion has to be asked for by the member when called by the Speaker, and at least 50 members should support the motion. When leave of the House to move a no confidence motion has been granted, no substantive motion involving the approval of government policy is admitted and debated in the House. During discussion on such a motion, members get opportunities to highlight the shortcomings in the working of the government. If a no confidence motion is passed by the Lok Sabha, the Council of Ministers has to resign. The motion of confidence has come up as a new procedural device to cope with the emerging situations in a coalition government in the last 2 decades or so. The government of the day, sometimes on its own, seeks to prove its majority by moving a motion of confidence. As a device facilitating deliberations by which the legislature makes its definite views known on specific issues and formal recommendations to the government, the resolutions occupy a prominent place in the proceedings of the House. Resolutions may be broadly divided into 3 categories: government resolutions, statutory resolutions, and private members' resolutions. In order to keep the House informed about matters of public importance, or to state the government's policy in regard to a matter of topical interest, ministers make statements in the House from time to time. Moreover, authoritative facts and information are also made available to the Parliament.
Legislation is deemed to be the predominant function of Parliament. All legislative proposals are initiated in Parliament in the form of bills. A bill can be introduced in either House of Parliament either by a minister or by a private member. A money bill or financial bill can be introduced only in the Lok Sabha. After a bill is passed by one house, it is sent to the other house for concurrence. When a bill is passed by both the houses, it is sent for the President's assent. The bill becomes an act only after the President's assent has been given thereto. Preparation and presentation of budget for the approval of the legislature is a constitutional obligation on the part of the government. In respect of every financial year, the President causes to be laid before both Houses of Parliament an annual financial statement, otherwise known as the Budget of the Government of India. The budget is presented to Parliament in two parts, the General Budget and the Railway Budget. The General Budget is presented to the Lok Sabha by the Finance Minister, usually on the last working day in February. The Railway Budget is presented by the Railway Minister sometime in the third week of February. Simultaneously, a copy of the respective budget is laid on the table of Rajya Sabha. The budget is discussed in two stages in the Lok Sabha. First, there is the general discussion when only the broad outlines of the budget and the principles and policies underlying it are discussed. Thereafter, the two houses adjourn for a fixed period and the departmentally related standing committees consider the demands for grants of the ministries or departments during this recess and make reports thereon. Discussion and voting on the demands for grants of individual ministries is taken up after the recess. The Lok Sabha has the power to assent or to refuse to any demand or even to reduce the amount of any grant sought by the government. In the Rajya Sabha, there is only a general discussion on the budget. It does not vote on the demands for grants. After the demands of all the ministries are voted, the appropriation bill is passed, authorizing the government to withdraw money from the Consolidated Fund of India. An important feature of the Indian parliamentary polity is its committee system. The parliamentary committees are, in fact, microcosms and extensions of the House. They act as a vibrant link among the Parliament, executive and the general public. Parliamentary committees are of two kinds, standing committees and ad hoc committees. Among the standing committees, the three financial committees, committees on estimates, public accounts and public undertakings constitute a distinct group, keeping an unremitting vigil over governmental spending and performance. While members of the Rajya Sabha are associated with the committees on public accounts and public undertakings, members of the Committee on Estimates are drawn entirely from the Lok Sabha. The control exercised by these committees is of a continuous nature. They gather information through questionnaires, memoranda from representatives of non-official organizations and knowledgeable individuals, on-the-spot studies of organizations, and oral examination of official and non-official witnesses. There are 24 departmentally related standing committees covering all the ministries or departments of the Government of India under their jurisdiction. Each of these committees consists of 31 members, 21 from Lok Sabha and 10 from Rajya Sabha, to be nominated by the Speaker, Lok Sabha, and the Chairman, Rajya Sabha, respectively. Out of these 24 committees, 8 committees are under the administrative control of the Chairman, Rajya Sabha, and the remaining 16 committees are under the administrative control of the Speaker, Lok Sabha. These committees consider the demands for grants of the ministries or departments concerned, consider annual reports of ministries or departments, examine such bills pertaining to the ministries or departments concerned as are referred to the committee by the Chairman, Rajya Sabha, or the Speaker, Lok Sabha, as the case may be, and consider national basic long-term policy documents presented to the House. With a view to ensuring timely implementation of the recommendations made by the DRSCs, it has been made obligatory for the minister concerned to make once in 6 months a statement in the House regarding the status of implementation of the recommendations contained in the reports of the DRSCs. Among other standing committees in each House, divided in terms of their functions, are committees to inquire, committees to scrutinize, committees relating to the day-to-day business of the House, committees concerned with provision of facilities to members, and other joint committees. A number of ad hoc committees are constituted from time to time either by the House or on a motion adopted in that behalf or by the Speaker or Chairman to enquire into and report on specific subjects. Parliament may also constitute other committees, the commonest of which are the select or joint committees on bill. In order to enable members to discuss critical issues of long-term national importance in a structured manner, 5 parliamentary forums have been constituted since 2005. Each House of Parliament has a Secretariat of its own, headed by the Secretary General, who is a permanent official working under the overall control of the presiding officer of the House. The servicing of the Parliament of the largest democracy in the world is indeed a formidable task. The work of the 2 secretariats is organized on a functional basis into different services. A well-organized information system to cater to the multifarious requirements of parliamentarians is of paramount importance. In the Parliament of India, this task is assigned to the Parliament Library and Reference, Research, Documentation and Information Service. This service keeps the members of Parliament well informed of the day-to-day developments in India and abroad by maintaining an up-to-date and well-equipped library, and also provides intellectual support services through the research and reference divisions. A unique and novel feature of the Parliament Library is the Children's Corner. The corner has been set up with the aim to inculcate reading habit amongst the children and to enable them to share the vast resources of the Parliament Library. Special emphasis is given to ensure that the children of marginalized sections of society who do not have access to a good and resourceful library should avail the facility of the Children's Corner. Telecasting of parliamentary proceedings acts as an effective interface between the people and the Parliament. Lok Sabha has launched an independent 24-hour Lok Sabha television channel in July 2006. The channel gives extensive coverage to the proceedings of the House and arranges debates on issues of national and international importance.
Watch your elected representatives think, strategize, and plan. only on Lok Sabha television.
Another remarkable institutional development is the state-of-the-art Parliament Museum in the Parliament Library building. The museum, which is open to the public, has been designed to serve as a high-tech storytelling museum depicting the continuum of democratic ethos and institutional development in India. Various facets of India's democratic tradition, from ancient India to freedom struggle, come alive in the museum. Democracy must, in essence, mean the art and science of mobilizing the entire physical, economic, and spiritual resources of all sections of the people in the service of common good of all. Parliament has played a pivotal role in the gigantic task of building a strong and united India, and has always endeavored to live up to the expectations of the people as a vehicle of social change.